Hi, Larry K, ShadowAnyone.com. I'm going to talk today about how early do you show up when you have a surveillance to do. Before I do that, I want to say hit a little milestone today on email subscribers. Got my first subscriber from Tasmania, which I did not even know was a real place. But thank you for signing up for the email. If you're interested in signing up for email, I'm not some kind of computer whiz guy. I'm an investigator, and I have some good training material out there. The closest thing I can tell you to sign up to get the emails is if you go to beapi.com. There's a free report there on interviews and important things about when you do an interview. If you sign up for that free audio report, you'll be on the email list and you'll get updated 3 times a month, twice a month when I post something I think you might be interested in. So, how early do you show up when you're going to do surveillance? I recommend at least a half an hour before you think something's going to happen. Now, this can be a tough thing to talk some clients into, especially your what I call onesie twosie clients, the clients who maybe it's a domestic case, that type of thing. When you're working for, because money's a little bit tighter, they're really trying to conserve, and we do charge a pretty penny for surveillance if you think about it. You may be used to those rates, but when you tell somebody on the phone what it costs, sometimes they're shocked by that. And I teach in the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance, I teach a script on how to handle that, how to handle price shoppers when they call you. But when you're working for more regular clients like attorneys or for workers' comp type cases, that's a little bit easier. Those guys will usually just say, hey, you got $1,100 for the investigation, or I'm authorizing 12 hours of surveillance, that type of thing. And they give you a little more leisure, use your discretion, your professional discretion to decide when to use those hours. But when you're dealing with, say, an infidelity case, for example, and the husband gets off work at 5 o'clock, the wife, trying not to spend very much money, you can suggest, oh, let's be out there by 4 or 4:30 at the latest. She might say, I know he never leaves before 5. Get out there at 5. I'm not paying anything until 5. All right, you got to do what you got to do, but I would suggest trying to get out there at least a half hour early. I'll give you a really good example. One infidelity case in particular that I worked. And it was supposed to, a man and a woman were going to meet at a hotel. The husband, who I was supposed to be watching, they were going to meet at a hotel at a certain time, like 5 o'clock at night, I believe. And I was supposed to be there, catch them arriving and going into the hotel together, if at all possible. I got out there a little bit early. I actually got there about 10 minutes earlier than what I really even wanted to, what I was expecting. And certainly I was kind of off the clock now. I was just donating my time just to do the job right. I wanted to get there early, get in position, and be ready. When I arrived, as I'm pulling onto the lot, I see the other woman. She's standing beside her car, and the subject, the husband, is actually pulling onto the lot at this time. I just barely had time to whip around into a parking space. I get the camera out, I start recording, and I just get him coming up to the woman, giving her a peck on the cheek. They get into her car and they take off. I get out of my parking space. I try to catch up with them, but they're long gone at this point in time. Again, rush hour traffic and whatnot. I looked all over for them, a little above and beyond in a sense, because I had 3 or 4 hours of surveillance that I was the client had paid for, so not knowing exactly when they would arrive or depart. So I went literally up and down this very busy street to every restaurant, went into every single restaurant. Maybe they were grabbing a bite to eat. They're not in there. I went to every hotel that I could find in the area. Her car was nowhere to be found. They're just gone. So I go back to the hotel, still just his car there. I finish up the surveillance, just waiting. Maybe they'll show up, or I don't know what'll happen, but I'm on the clock. Might as well do the work. And the surveillance ends, and that's all I got for the client, was just that 10 minutes early, and again, maybe just 2 minutes of footage, or 2 minutes, 90 seconds maybe, of what's going on. But this was enough. The client didn't need, every little detail, them going in together, holding hands, that type of thing. He arrived where he was not supposed to be, met a woman he wasn't supposed to meet. He gives her a peck on the cheek, gets in her car. This is all my client needs. It tells her everything she needs to know, and she was tickled to have this information and to have this video. And the only reason she got it was because I showed up early. I showed up more when I thought we should start, even though the client wasn't willing to pay for it. I kind of 10 minutes of my own time type of thing. But it made for a very successful case, and this is the type of thing that you can parlay into other work as well. So what I want to tell you is, how early do you show up for surveillance? Earlier than you think something's going to happen, at least a half hour. 30 minutes would be, I would say, the minimum you want to show up. If you think something's going to happen at 5, be there no later than 4:30, in position, ready to film. And that may be getting there at 3:20 or 4:20 rather. In position, you're filming by 4:30 for something you don't think is going to happen even until 5. That's a good rule of thumb to follow. I'm Larry Kay with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.